What's going on? What's going on, Forest Hill and Everman family? We are back once again with our live podcast, Ordinary Conversations with Extraordinary People, including your host, Willie Beeman. We're continuing in our October series, what I call Musical Creators, and we have another amazing guest for you guys. This woman here, she carries diversity through classical, pop, jazz, and gospel music. I know her to be a dynamic violinist. She also has made a guest appearance with a group called Brave Combo, who were Grammy nominated. Also, she represents the vibrant city of New Orleans. Y'all want to make some noise for my sister, my friend, Miss Traliece B.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm real good.
That's good.
I'm real good.
That's good. Well, I appreciate you being on with us, man, and being our second guest here, continuing this October series, Musical Creators. And I know you're definitely gifted in what you do. So just want to go ahead and get right into it, and we will let you play some of your hits. We'll say the best for last. But knowing that you grew up in a household full of musicians, in regard to your family, who would you say had the most influence on your development? Or is that however you want to answer that?
I mean, I would have to say my creator.
Okay.
I would have to say the God that I serve. And the reason why I get that answer is because he was the one who gave me the family that I have in the first place.
I'm with that.
And so I'm grateful for him, but I'm also grateful for each and every one of them, because starting with my grandmother, who was a musician,
Wow.
and my parents, who are both musicians, my siblings being musicians, and each and every one of them in their own way are teachers for me.
Yeah.
And each and every one of them I look up to, for specific different reasons. But I have great admiration for each and every one of their musicianships.
Wow. That's amazing. When did you realize that making a mark in the music industry would be something that would become a lifestyle for you? When did that feeling come? Like, this is something that I take serious and I want to do?
That's a really good question. I would say it's been just over time.
Yeah.
Because growing up in a family of musicians, it wasn't like it was forced upon me. So much more, it was just something that came up inside of me.
Wow.
And so over time, over the years, it just continued to develop and grow. And as I started playing with different orchestras over the years, and then different worship groups over the years, and eventually I just got to the place where, okay, I want to step out and see, okay, what I'm capable of. So the gifts that are in me, I want to be able to handle those really well.
Wow, yeah, that's definitely important. Like you mentioned earlier, definitely me being a believer as well. God gives us different talent, different gifts. And it's up to us to take them seriously and cultivate them. He puts them inside of us for a reason. So I definitely appreciate you for that. So outside of family, were there any other artists that played an instrumental role in your musical career? I know you said you come from a musical background, but are there anyone else that had an instrumental piece?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love Sade.
Oh yeah. She's beast. Yeah.
Yes, I love Sade. I love her. I love the band. I would say that sound has definitely been very instrumental. Also, BB and CC Winans as well.
That's amazing.
Have been very instrumental for me as well. As far as violinists, Johnny Ponte, he was very influential on me growing up, and was the start of me expanding beyond just classical and things of that nature. And lately, my violinist mentor from afar has been Damien Escobar. I study a lot of his stuff that I've been listening to.
Well, going back, I know you mentioned being in a diversity of different genres, whether that's classical, pop, gospel, all those things. Do you approach all those different areas differently?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. Just from a technical standpoint, as far as like various different types of scales.
Yeah.
But also just through listening as well too.
Listening is important.
Yeah, but what opens me up is really just the when I had started. Really, it was when I was playing with Mesquite Symphony Orchestra, when I was with them. Like, that is a group whom I highly recommend anyone in the DFW area to go listen to, because they cover a wide range of different genres.
Wow.
And I want to say it was them who actually began to inspire me to start venturing out more into the more pop arena and things of that nature, and also just begin to just experiment and not being afraid to experiment.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You definitely want to be someone that's one-dimensional. You want to make sure that you're developing every area and in every genre. So no, that's pretty cool to hear. I want to get into your first piece.
Yes.
I believe it's Nobody Knows.
Yes.
So before we get into it, I guess kind of share with our listeners and viewers, I guess, your creative process behind it.
Okay, yeah. So with Nobody Knows, that was my very first single that I actually released. And basically it's a song about my story. It talks about how I was before, I gave my life over to Jesus.
Yeah.
And just the mental health struggles that I battled, and even being like going through suicidal ideation and trying to take my own life a few times over the years and things of that nature. And so it's a song of celebration and just how, with his help, I was able to get past it.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. I definitely appreciate your vulnerability and your transparency. So I don't want to take any longer. I'm going to let you go on to your first piece, man.
Yes. Once a time I was in so hard, it was my mind. Highs and lows, spinning out of control, going lost and soul. Searching around, had a nervous breakdown, love but to be found. Then there was you. Nobody knows any trials had. Nobody knew. I came along and picked me up strong. That was you. Nobody knows it gives us tears that deny. Nobody knew. I've had many other lovers, many other lovers. And then you came and pulled my water, but you only let the water. You give me love, peace, and joy, such a loving giver. And now you're all the one I love to it, and all I really need is you. You picked me up and turned me around, broke a many chains that had me bound. It was you. Nobody knows it is the times that I've been. Nobody knew. Came along and picked me up strong. And that was you.
That was good. That was amazing. That was amazing. Take a moment to share with our viewers and listeners on your creative process in regards to recording and production. Because I know that can probably be tedious. It can probably, be overwhelming at times. So how do you approach that process?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So I do have different producers and musicians that I work with.
Yeah.
That helps me choreograph and like put the music together, basically. So my process, it usually starts off either, honestly, I could be washing dishes. I could be driving my car to the store, and all of a sudden, I'll just get like this tune in my head.
Wow.
It'll just come to me. There have even been a few times where I've even had dreams where I'll just hear music, and all of a sudden I'll just wake up and I'll pick up my voice memo on my phone, and then like hum and sing what I'm hearing, and then from there go through the process of just getting in touch with my producer and one of the musicians that I normally work with, and helping me put my songs together. And we just hash that out, and we just join forces and just put ideas together. And then from there, so that's like the music aspect of it. And as far as lyrically, it just comes.
Yeah.
It just comes. I don't try to push it. I always make sure I'm in a pretty relaxed state of mind.
Yeah.
But some of my quickest songs, like that came together like really, really quick, were the ones that were just in a dream. And it was like, okay, let's jot this down, let's get this down really quick. And from there, just putting it all together.
Wow. That's definitely.
It's different.
Yeah. Hey, it's cool. I appreciate everybody being there.
Technical, really.
Yeah.
But it's my process.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked that question, because I believe we all have our own creative process and how God does things. No, that's great. In your bio, studying your bio, as I mentioned earlier, I saw that you had the privilege of making a guest appearance on the live album with Great Combo. Like I mentioned, Symphonic Polka in 2009.
Yeah.
Who received a Grammy nomination. And my question to you is,
they actually won, by the way.
Oh, they won?
Yeah,
oh.
I should actually put that in.
That's even better then.
Yeah, they actually did win.
Wow.
That was when I was with the Speed Symphony Orchestra.
Okay.
And that was such a fun experience because I was able to just see what it was like to just work with principals, and also what it would be like to just record on a live album. That was like my very first that I've actually done. And I have done other recordings since then with different artists, but they've been some of the biggest because they've been in the industry for decades.
Wow.
They're DFW grown.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, just straight out of Denton. And so, but yeah, I would say, honestly, I believe that was partly where the seed was planted, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because going through that process with them, and then, just years later, I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. Just me.
Yeah.
Let's just see, see what comes out.
Yeah. Do you still keep in contact with a lot of those people?
Some I do, some I don't. It's been few and far between, only because I've been a few years removed from the symphony.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Throughout, going back to what I just mentioned, I guess what was your reaction when you got the news that they actually won the Grammy?
Totally happy. It was like, I got to be a part of something that helped them win. So, so it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's the question I wanted to. I'm pretty sure that was.
Very happy.
Throughout your career, what are some things that you have implemented to remain refreshed and replenished to make sure that you stay on course when it comes to your creative process? What are the things that you do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Definitely making sure I take time out to meditate and just be still and be quiet. I would say that's been the biggest thing for me lately. And also making sure to find that balance between like listening to people but not listening at the same time.
That's good.
Because I do want to be original, I want to be creative, and so at times I'll purposely like not listen to anything, just so that I can really pick up and gather what it is what's really supposed to originally be birthed out of me. And so I would say that has been a big piece as well too. And really just keeping the stress down as much as possible.
Yes,
because any creative will be able to tell you that, okay, I have to be stress free in order to be creative. And so that could be anything, like enjoying my favorite cup of coffee.
Yes. Shout out to Texas Slim.
And just being still for a moment, or even just a case of being with my family dogs. Like I really enjoy dogs. Like just being with them and being outdoors with them. That actually brings a lot of the stress. So just things of that nature. That's what helps.
Yeah, that's good. It actually kind of segue into my next question. Outside of music, what are some hobbies that you do in order to enjoy yourself?
Okay, definitely spending time with my family dogs, as well as I do dog sitting on the side as well.
Okay.
So that has been a recent thing that I just really, really enjoy, mostly because I genuinely love dogs. I'm a dog lover.
Okay.
So that would be one thing. What else? I do enjoy a good coloring book as well. I do enjoy good coloring books. So I'm really into like the adult coloring books and things. So that would be another thing as well. And also catching up with friends. Like I have friends across the country, across the world, and so really being able to like get on like a Zoom call with any one of them is another way that I really like spending time. And other than that, cooking. I do enjoy cooking. I do enjoy cooking as well.
What's your favorite dish to cook?
Creole Cajun. Creole Cajun type. But my ultimate is I love gumbo.
Me too.
That's my ultimate, I would say, comfort food for me is gumbo.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to. I know we talked about said Friday. I want to get to New Orleans, man. Try some of the real deal stuff. I've never been there, so I definitely love to experience it. Now, I think it's definitely important to make sure that we're doing things outside of, to make sure that we're refreshed, we're playing, like you mentioned, spending time with family, considering you getting a dog load. So those things are important. So when you get back to it, you're in a whole different mindset. So that's cool. This question here, I think is a good one. If you could speak to the younger Traliece B, what advice would you give her?
My advice for her would be, God loves you. Don't be so insecure. Go do yoga. Really focus on music. Because you'll find later on that's what you end up running back into.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Short, quick, straight to the point. I love it. So, moving forward, I want to get to your next piece.
Yes.
Only You,
yes.
I believe. So, kind of like how we did the first time, kind of give us some insight on that track to you.
Oh, yeah. So, Only You, this is something that I've recently finished in the studio. it's a special treat because I don't know when I'm going to actually release it. But it is a song that it's kind of happy, like just singing to, like, you know, only you, I love you, I don't know, just thinking of that one whom you just really want to embrace, and they just bring you so much joy and just so much happiness, and I just want to dance with you.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to just be with you. So, and that song came to me on a day. That was one of those, I was walking down the hallway and then it came.
Wow.
That's literally how that song came about. So, yeah, that song we do.
Okay. Okay. Well, our listeners and viewers already, so it's on you.
Okay.
That was good. That was good. That was good. Going back to your gifts and talents, if your violin could tell a story, what would that story tell in regards to you playing an instrument?
That's a good question. You know, the first two words that came to me was joy and pain. So I'm just gonna go with that first that came to my mind.
Wow.
And love.
Okay. Yeah, I can take that. Going back to your bio, I know I was studying, you said you were playing violin at a very young age. What age did you start playing violin?
I was 7.
Wow.
7, 8 years old, around there. Yes. 7, 8 years old. I chose it. It was something different from the rest of my family.
Yes.
Yeah, it was something different from the rest of my family. I come from a family of excellent pianists and also horn players and woodwinds and things like that. So I wanted to be different and I chose strings.
Wow. What inspired you to pursue learning, how to play the violin? What was the inspiration behind it?
Yes. So back in elementary school, I remember there used to be this, you had like the different music teachers. So you had like there was the orchestra teacher, and there was the band teacher as well. And once a year they would go around to the different classrooms and they would play all these different instruments and like, see, look what you can do. Look, isn't this great? Da, 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 da. And I was really drawn to the violin because by that time I had already tried like one of those little recorders. It looks similar to like a clarinet, like one of those little recorders. I had started on one of those, and I forgot what other instrument I was trying to learn at the time, but there was that, and there was piano. And I said I would, let me try to follow in my mom and my grandmother's footsteps.
Wow, neat.
Playing piano. Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I really like this or not. And so then I saw the violin, and I was like, oh, there was this music teacher. He came in, and he just started playing all these different types of notes and chords, and moved on to like a viola, and even pulled out the cello and things like that. And I was like, I haven't seen that in my family. I think that's what I want to gravitate to, because other than my grandmother as well as my mom, everyone else, they're like bands. And I already knew at a young age, like, that's great for those who love marching band, but I already knew at that age that was not something that I wanted to do. And so that was where the violin came forth, and I stuck with it. It kept my attention.
Wow. Was there any kickback from family members in regards to you? Or they're very supportive and you like, this is right on I choose to take it?
Yes, they were, extremely supportive. Like no kickback, none whatsoever. There was thoughts of like, oh, that's different. But overall, just very supportive. And I also think as well too, just very happy that the legacy is continuing.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. How do you incorporate your personal experiences in regards to your music, in regards to life itself? I know we go through highs and lows, valleys and mountaintops, so how do you incorporate those experiences?
Oh yeah, that's really good. So so a lot of the songs that I write, they were usually birthed from a place of pain. Usually just a place of something that had happened. And so, and based on that experience, the songs would be, okay, well, this is what came forth from that experience, or this is what came forth, that it's a song I sing in order to make myself feel better, and things of that nature. And so it would be somewhere along those lines, and then it would just all come together, or just really, like I said earlier, just being inspired by just moving about life and the things that I see and the things that I experience. So I would say that has been the biggest piece.
We pull from, I guess, other genres, maybe like jazz or R&B in your process.
Yeah, definitely. Because quite frankly, when it comes to things like soul, R&B, jazz, those are sounds that I really not like and really gravitate to, because that's what I grew up a lot hearing.
Yeah, true.
My dad and my siblings are jazz musicians.
Wow.
So that's where the jazz piece inspiration came from first, before I started expanding myself and started listening to jazz violinists and starting to go into just experimenting and learning these things for myself.
Right.
And so I would say, those are big influences from, because I grew up listening to a lot of that. Really, I grew up listening to all different types of genres, like all of it, rock, country, all of it, hip hop, all of it. Yeah. And so for me, as I'm creating that music, I would say a lot of it is neo soul jazz type base. Yeah. But there is you'll hear some hip hop thrown in there, and you'll hear some other type, gospel, you'll hear that from me. Mm-hmm. So I like all kinds of sounds.
Yeah. How important is sound quality when it comes to you preparing for an event? I know we've had our talks.
Yes. Yes, it's extremely important to me because even though I enjoy performing and just and things of that nature, I always still want to continue to push to be a better musician. I want to continue to push to be a better violinist. I want to push to be able to continue to be a better singer as well. And it's also important that the audience are able to pick up and hear what they need to hear, and pick up the sound that they need to receive, as well as the message.
Yes. I definitely agree with that. I think the message is definitely important because, me too, growing up in music, listening to different genres, and of course, rest in peace to Frankie Beverly, and so a lot of us grew up on Beverly, and so I think the message is very important when it comes to putting music out. So being from New Orleans, share with our viewers and listeners your experience in playing with New Orleans Youth Symphony Orchestra.
So that's actually where, that was my very first orchestra.
Okay.
And pretty much stuck with them until I graduated high school.
Wow.
Until I graduated high school, and then moved on and started playing for Grambling University.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And so, and that has been great. We did all sorts of events around the city park, and just all kinds of things. It was a really fun experience. And by the time I graduated, I was first chair, which was a big deal. So it was really awesome. It was really great. But New Orleans, is such a musical city.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah.
And lots of sound coming out of there. And so was very inspired by, of course, New Orleans jazz, but I can't leave out New Orleans bounce. I can't leave that out. Because and that was really exciting, especially during that time, growing up and seeing New Orleans bounce getting really, really popular. Between No Limit Records and Cash Money. So those were exciting times musically, and But also, I mean, also you get very great jazz musicians that have come out of there as well too, like the Marcellus family. And so yeah, it's definitely very rich in terms of culture, and in terms of definitely a significant part of contributing to who I am now. Not just as a musician, but just as me as a person.
I definitely agree with that. Being from New Orleans and how rich it is musically, are there certain spots that you love playing there? And whenever you go back home, or you just it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I honestly haven't really played much when I go back home. Really, truly, I'm too busy visiting family and friends. To be honest with you, whenever I go back home, but there are lots of spots in the forest that I like to go and sit in and listen on. So I haven't actually played.
Okay.
No, well, not since being a solo artist.
Right. But I think it's cool too to sit down and listen in, and being from the culture and see what everybody else has to offer. So I think that's great too. You've played in a variety of settings, from what I've studied in your bio, through symphonic groups, to private events, like you mentioned, worship teams. So my question to you is, how do you prepare for each of those environments?
It really depends on the scenario, but one thing I have learned over the years is being open. Being open, because there have been many cases where I'll get a call and like, hey, can you come play at this heavy metal event? Okay, all right. Well, what's the songs? We don't know. Okay, well, how long is the set? It's an hour. Oh, okay. You get there, like, okay, so have we decided what we're playing? I think we're doing this or this. And it's like 5 minutes of everything. So I've learned over the years to just be open. The biggest thing that helps is scales. Just going over scales, all different types of scales and notes, and working on intonation and things of that nature in order to just be ready. And in some instances, it's great if you can get some music up front and things of that nature. And as far as with myself, I've also had to be open, even when it comes to my own stuff. Like I had one event where like the sound wasn't working at all.
I've experienced that.
It wasn't working at all. Like I couldn't do my backing tracks at all. And so as a result of that, I still went on. I just did it a cappella. And it was great. I assume it was great because I got 2 more gigs out of that. So, and that was a big surprise for me. Oh wow, like okay, all right. It's just me, voice and violin, but all right then. So I've just learned you just gotta be flexible. Just make it work, and kind of like that old saying. Okay, the show must go on.
Yes.
Okay, if you miss a note, keep going.
I'm definitely with that. Going back to you mentioned, in your preparation, what is, I guess, scales? What does that consist of in the preparation? I heard it, but I wanted you to elaborate.
Okay, yeah. So that could be major scales, minor scales, Dorian scales, just scales.
Okay. Going back to your process, starting at a very young age, learning how to play violin, coming from a musical background, did you attend any performing arts schools in order to help cultivate your gifts?
No. And I have regrets of that. That's why, like earlier, when you asked, what would you tell young Traliece? I would say, move forward, do know them, because little do you know the music is a significant part of your future when you realize. I've always thought, so I would say that that has been one regret. Has been like I applied for NOCA, got into NOCA, and then decided not to go. And NOCA, just so you know, that is a performing arts high school back in New Orleans for like all the different creative arts. I think, what's the name of that school out here in Dallas? It's a little time. It's not coming to me. But it's y'all may know it's the high school that Erica Badu went to, Nora Jones. It is not coming.
It's not coming to me either. I know who they are.
Anyway, but NOCA is, but back in New Orleans, it was the equivalent
to that.
Okay. Yes, and so I would say that has been a regret. Yes. Thank you. Booker T. Washington.
Okay.
Yes.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Thank you. Yes. Booker T. Washington. Yeah. So that. So NOCA was like the equivalent of that. How it is here, and that's how it looks back in New Orleans. And I just chose not. Partly because I didn't think I was enough. And also comparing myself to other people, but also thinking, oh, I may miss out on these sacred high school years, which looking back, I'm like, girl, you should have went to NOCA. You should have went to NOCA. And but it's all right. It's all right because I've had great teachers over the years, and you know it's never too late to get on and just get better. And I always want to continue to grow in my craft.
I agree with that. I don't think we ever stop learning and being creative, no matter what space you're in. You always learn. You always want to learn something new to add to your craft. So I want to get to this next piece.
Yes.
Forever Love.
Yes.
Kind of elaborate a little bit more on it. I know it just released last week.
Yeah, last Friday. Yeah. I don't think it's been a full week yet. This past Friday. So Forever Love. That song, just getting over to the example earlier about life experience, basically pain. That song was birthed from a place of pain, where I was in love with a guy, and this particular man, I really thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with him. I really did, but it didn't work out, and I was devastated.
Wow.
I was absolutely devastated, and one day I was in my living room on the floor, and I was just sobbing, just absolutely sobbing, and I was just devastated, wretched. And when I was done crying, I heard a small voice that said, before earth and before time, I've always loved you.
Wow.
And I love you now, and I'll love you always will.
Wow. That's powerful.
And then from there, and that's when I knew that was God speaking to me. And from there, that's when the healing process began. But also a very important lesson for me that I don't have to be in a relationship in order to feel loved.
Wow, that's good.
Or feel validated or anything of that nature. Like I'm enough just as I am. And just knowing that God loves me, and also Him teaching me how to love me.
Yes.
And being like just totally just at peace with that being enough. And as a result of that, became a better daughter, a better sister, a better friend, a better aunt. Not saying I'm perfect, because my mom told me the other day, you can be really moody sometimes. And I'm like, well, yeah, what can I say? I'm human.
Yes, we are human.
So not saying I got it all figured out. I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, that really was a life-changing moment for me after hearing those words. And so that's where Forever Love was birthed.
Wow.
He's my lover, he's my friend, he's my everything.
Wow. Appreciate you sharing that. Definitely appreciate you sharing that. Well, I ain't gonna take too much time.
Okay, yes.
We're gonna let you get into that piece, man.
Before the earth and before time, I was yours and you were mine. Before the sun and the moon lit the skies, I was yours and you were mine. Before the earth and before time, I was yours and you were mine. Before the sun and the moon lit the skies, I was yours and you were mine. Your love sets me free like no other. You love me more than 1,000 lovers. So from now to beyond time, I'm forever yours and you are mine. Love you so, my Redeemer, it's you. You have always been faithful and true. Before the earth and before time, I was yours and you were mine. And even now, to beyond time, I'll be forever yours and you'll be mine. Your love sets me free, your love sets me free. With you I can always be made. You're my forever love, the Holy One from above. You are my forever.
another good one. That's actually my favorite one. Yeah, I remember you doing it back at the open mic a couple months ago. That's definitely my favorite one. I can definitely tell from the stories you shared with us earlier. If you could perform a duet with any woman in history, who would it be and why?
Oh, goodness. Two people popped in my head. Two people popped in my head.
Hey, you can share both. How do you feel?
Okay, so CC Wines.
Okay, I take that.
CC Wines. I just, I mentioned earlier how, me being CC were definitely one of those, at the time, they were a group.
Yeah.
Little kid, that to me, like, the sound was very revolutionary because, to be honest with you, when I first heard them, I didn't know they were a Christian act. I really did. Like, the stuff they came out with, it wasn't until years later, I'm like, oh, that was, I didn't know that. And so fast forward to now, still listen to CC, love CC. So I would say, yeah, I would go with her.
Okay, that's the only one. I know you say yeah too.
The second person was Janet Jackson.
Oh, yes, I would take that. Yes, those are two heavy.
Yeah, she was also a great music influence for me over the years as well too, and Mary J. Blige.
Yes, that's another great.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my number one is CC.
CC. Okay. I take that. What's a misconception about female musicians that you would like to change, that you feel like people misjudge in the music industry? I know female musicians don't get a lot of credit. Female women in general from any area, I feel like they're overlooked in regards to men. So, what would you say?
I don't know if it's the people or the system. That's why I had to pause on that.
I got you.
As far as like with the music industry, I don't know if it's the people or the actual system. Because because nowadays, it just seems like in order to get noticed, you have to be having it in order to do so.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Say how you feel, Traliece.
It's just.
Say how you feel.
Well, I can be blunt at times, but it's just part of who I am. But it is my hope that in the music industry, as far as with female musicians and artists, that a balance can be struck in that. There can be balance. I remember there was a time where there was balance. Where you had the very, the very sexual, the very just provocative, and then you also had, the classic side as well. And nowadays, it like lately, it's just only one side.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I would love to see more of a balance across the genres, period, because I'm starting to see it in all different genres, really. But that's why I say I can't say if it's the people or if it's the system.
Right.
I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry. So before we get off, so one of the patrons asked, "What is how to find you on Instagram?" So we need to make sure we put. I don't know if that could be one of your questions.
It was.
Wanted to make sure that we get that information out there.
Oh yes, absolutely. So yeah, I am on Instagram. It's Traliece B. So that's T as in Tom, R A L I as in ice, E as in eagle, C as in cat, E as in eagle, and then the letter B as in boy. And so that's where you can find me on Instagram, and you'll see me smiling with my violin. So, yeah.
And then the other question is, how many siblings do you have? And do y'all get together for like holidays, and how's that? What does that look like?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a great question.
So I have two brothers. Yeah, two brothers, and we're trying to start that type of tradition, but everybody have their own different plans around holiday times. My brothers, in particular, they do perform a lot together.
Wow.
All throughout the city, like in different bands. You have the Terrence Bradford Trio, as well as Terrence Bradford Quartet, and also the Big Ass Brass Band as well too. Among other groups that they play for. My brother Jordan, and that's what Terrence and Jordan do together, but also Jordan plays as part of a show band around different parts of the country and things of that nature. But the three of us have yet to do anything outside of funerals. But we want to move beyond that. And there has been talks of us doing stuff together. It's just a matter of getting our schedules in line.
Yeah.
That was a great question.
Yes, well, great question. Appreciate the audience.
Yeah.
Appreciate the fans up there. I'm gonna close with these last two. I know we are in a setting when it comes to literacy and education, reading and writing, and so how has understanding the importance of literacy in regards to music and applying it to your music help you excel in your career?
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because really one can't be without the other. Because when it comes to music, you need your motor skills, you need sight, you need hearing.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with reading. You need, to be able to see. You need to be able to hear the sounds, and also being able to pronounce the words and things of that nature as well too in terms of grammar. Another fun fact about my family is that my mom and both of my brothers are also music teachers as well.
Wow, that's cool.
And so I've been told by them over the years how they've seen the significance in terms of like reading and music, and how reading and literacy, like when you put music on top of that, it really do help improve literacy and being able to read more.
Wow.
And I will say, in our household, I have to believe it because, outside of the stuff they tell me they see in the classroom, but also just, growing up, we were all reading novels by the age of 5, 6.
Wow.
So I would say that's a great example of just the combination of just being around all that music and how the brain works and how just it translates so well over into reading and literacy and being able to pick things up so quickly. And even for myself, I was AP English in high school.
It's my favorite subject.
Really? Yeah. And I know partly of that has to go back to just the music and how when you put those things together, it really helps in the advancement of literacy.
Wow. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Last question. What would you leave with the viewers and listeners in regard to gaining necessary education in regard to the music industry?
That's a really good question. Be open to what is currently being put out there, and don't be afraid to find what's not being put out there. And what I mean by that is you do have a lot of your commercial artists and things that are being pushed, but there's a lot of really great music coming out of the indie music industry as well.
Yeah.
So I would say that continue to just support indie music.
Wow. Wow, well, we definitely appreciate you being our second guest, continuing this October series of musical creators, man. And today was good. Definitely learned a lot more about you, ins of the music, out of the music, just you as a person. And I definitely appreciate your vulnerability and transparency. And so, yeah, we appreciate you guys being on this episode with us, Ordinary Conversations with Extraordinary People. Your host, Willie Beeman. Come see about us, 6962 Forest Hill Drive in the beautiful city of Forest Hill, Texas. Also, as we close this out, if you don't mind giving us, just a little sample as we close this out, if you feel like you want to play.
Okay.
All right. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We will see you guys next week with our next guest, Ahmad, who's in the R&B space. We love y'all. Peace. See y'all soon.